All right.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, the 26th of March, and we are here interviewing Holland Hunter at his cottage, 402 at Quadrangle in Haverford. And I am Pat Roach. I live in Bryn Mawr, and I'm a member of Haverford Meeting. And with me also is Tippy Schwabe, who is a resident here at Quadrangle. And we are going to talk to Ho Hunter about his affiliations with Quakerism beginning back when he was a little boy. And Ho, I'd like to know when you were born and where.
July 6, 1921, in Evanston, Illinois.
And you had brothers and sisters?
Two younger brothers.
Two younger brothers. And your mother and father were named?
Oh, Harry Holland Hunter, 3 H's, and Hester Hunter, another pair of H's.
That's great.
And Hester what?
Oh, her maiden name was Walrath.
Okay. Hester.
And
her family came from Norway. Tippy, you'll be glad to hear.
I am indeed, since I'm of Norwegian background.
Ho, can you tell us your full name?
My full name is Holland Hunter, no middle initial.
Well,
Oh, really?
that makes you very distinguished. Tell us about where you went to school and when you grew up and that sort of information.
And we'll sit back and just listen.
We'll sit back.
and just listen. You just roll as it comes to you.
Well, after 4 years in Evanston, my mother and father moved me and my two younger brothers out to a little town west of Chicago called Geneva, Illinois, the county seat of Kane County, and we had a nice house. And although after a while the Great Depression made life very difficult, I and my brothers had a very pleasant time growing up in Geneva, Illinois. Then my father died of a brain tumor in 1935, and with the proceeds of the insurance, my mother shipped me and my brothers out to a very good, newly founded private school near Colorado Springs called the Fountain Valley School, where we got a very good education. And then the headmaster at Fountain Valley was a Haverford alumnus named Francis Mitchell Foylicker,
Oh, yeah.
whose brother ran a school in Baltimore. And Mr. Foylicker arranged for a scholarship which allowed me to come to Haverford College. And in the spring of my freshman year, I took the beginning course in philosophy taught by Douglas Steer, and came under the weight of his brilliant and charismatic personality. So I became a disciple of Douglas Steer.
And he must have been somewhat of an influence on your...
Oh, he certainly was.
You stayed at Haverford for 4 years, and then you must have gone elsewhere.
Yes.
First of all, excuse me, what years were you at Haverford?
From September 1939 through January 1943. My class speeded up by one semester.
Okay.
And I was able to go for the second summer, to a service committee work camp in southeast Missouri, helping build a bathhouse for displaced sharecroppers.
My word.
Where, among other things, I learned quite a few songs. Music was a large part of my life in those days. And then in January '43, I went down for a job in Washington, D.C., and the next year went out for a year to India,
Oh, did you? For heaven's
in
sake, I didn't know.
Calcutta and New Delhi.
And was that service, American Friends Service Committee?
It's a wartime, it's the Land Lease Organization.
Mm-hmm.
But in Calcutta, there was a monthly meeting, which I attended a couple of times. I met a very nice British fellow my age who had been allowed to be a conscientious objector by the UK, but he then changed his mind and wanted to sign up for the British forces.
Oh, my word.
He had a lot of trouble making that change.
That would be difficult. And this must have got you to thinking. Were you Quakers? Were you?
No, I had never met any Quakers before coming to Haverford.
Oh.
And then, after coming back to teach at Haverford, I became, well, actually, I think even before that, after those work camps, during the war, the service committee was heavily involved with all kinds of efforts, and I got caught up in them and started going to a great many meetings in town. And PYM would constantly be moving from one low-cost office to another.
It was before the Friends Center was built.
Yes.
Definitely.
That's back in about 1945, I guess, or 46.
Well, it was 48.
1948.
But 42, you're right, I was wrong. The work camp experience was in 1942. 41 and 42.
That was the Missouri one?
Yes.
Or that was 40?
The bathhouse for the sheriff.
41 and 42.
Okay. And the year in Calcutta then was
43 and 44.
43 to 40.
What an interesting experience that must have been.
Indeed.
All right, so you're going into town. You're becoming more and more involved with the service committee.
Right.
And then you get a job at Haverford College.
Yes.
And by then, how were you married?
Oh, yes. Helen and I got married on January 31st, 1946.
Good for you.
Now, had you gone to graduate school by that time?
Yes. I met up there in the fall of 45, and that's where Helen and I met.
Okay. And at Harvard?
Yes.
Yes. And what was Helen doing?
She was also a graduate student in economics. And we were in some of the same classes.
And you fell in love and got married on January 31st, 1946.
Yes.
That's pretty long marriage. Let's see, you've had 50...
Well, you're right.
6 years, 7 years.
Yeah.
That's how wonderful, how wonderful. And tell about the girls, and then what happened after the girls were born.
Anne was born in December 1947. Barbie was born in 1949. Christine was born in 1952. And Timothy was born in 1955.
And that was a wonderful surprise, according to Helen's mother.
Oh?
I've heard her say, never expected to see any boys in this family.
Well, Timothy is a wonderful son.
All the children are living?
Yes.
Nearby?
Some yes and some no.
The oldest one is out in Boulder getting another graduate degree. That's Anne. Barbie is a physician in Binghamton, New York. And Christine is an architect in Queens. And Tim is right in South Philadelphia. He has a wonderful wife, and they have 2 little girls, and are heavily involved in music down
Or
there.
are they? Are they in Friends schools?
They're going to Masterman, which I don't believe is a Friends school.
Mm-hmm.
How old are the children? How?
The oldest one is 14 or 15.
Mhm.
Oh.
My son has a daughter the same age, and of
Yes.
course Tim and Bobby were together in school.
Yes.
So they both got 14-year-old daughters. Now, tell me how you gravitated to Haverford Meeting while you were at Haverford teaching.
Well, as you know, fifth-day meeting was required in the olden days, so we all had to sit there.
Yes.
And at this point, I think I should mention Bushy,
All right.
Definitely.
Helen Cadbury Bush, because she had a major influence. She used to take care of children for working mothers. She took care of Gilbert and Ann White's children and our children and some others. And she was a great, she tried to get people like me to come to meetings. So you might say I was dragged there by her. She was rather short, and she had a footstool which students carved their initials in, and that footstool used to sit there in the meeting house, and she would come in and put her feet up on the footstool and put me beside her.
What?
She
I
was,
think
she was
perhaps-
quite a dominating little lady.
What the Cadbury name? I can understand her strength of character. Who was her husband? Bush.
Never knew him.
Well, all I know is that didn't work out very well,
Oh.
but I don't know why.
Not any relation to the current Bush. We are.
No.
I doubt.
No. You'll be interested to know that she's Patty Thomas's mother.
Oh. That is interesting, since Patty is a neighbor and also a member of the Haverford Meeting.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Bushy was the one who dragged me into meeting, and I decided that I would not apply for membership until if the college gave me tenure, which they did in 1953, whereupon, you see, that way I didn't want anyone to think that I was joining up
To get tenure, right.
Right.
Yeah.
So once that was clear, I did apply and join the meeting.
Well, that's 50 years ago.
Yes.
Yes, so you are a treasure trove in memories of what's gone on in the meeting.
How can you tell us a little bit about the people that were sitting in the facing benches and the configuration of the meeting, bench-wise in those days, because it's very different from now?
Yes. Well, there was a place, the seats up there for the facing benches sloped up a little bit, and when you faced them, there was a seat ahead of you on the right, which was where Rufus Jones came once in a while, and he came. And that was sort of a very august thing. And then there were a lot of faculty members like Albert Wilson, who were very appealing people and very articulate and had very good messages.
Let's see. Rufus Jones died in 1948.
Yes.
And he left a great impression on so many people and at the college. Did any of the men like that impress you in one way or another?
Well, Douglas here was a dominant moment for
right.
me.
Mm-hmm.
And people like Albert Wilson were very nice, but Douglas here was the dominant figure.
When did Douglas and Dorothy move out of Haverford Meeting over and to resuscitate Radnor Meeting?
I think that must have been about 1932 or so. It was quite early, because Douglas here was, in some sense or other, a replacement for or follow-on to Rufus Jones. But at Haverford Meeting, there wasn't room for him. So he and Dorothy found this little meeting out in Radnor, which was about to be shut down. And they built it up.
That's what I understood, that they were dominant forces. So that actually, in your worshiping in Haverford Meeting, Douglas was never a part of the meeting. He was, even then, in your college experience and then early teaching experience over at Radnor.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't go to the Radnor meeting very much.
Did you consider becoming a member there?
No.
No.
Now, I'd like to know a little bit about some of the things that you were doing in those days. I know one thing, you were playing in a jazz band.
Well, that was a hobby.
Yes, I know.
Great. Well, we missed that part of the avocational interest.
Yes, at one point I thought I'd be a drummer. I took a couple of lessons from Count Basie's drummer, a fellow named Joe Jones. J-O with no E at the end.
Jones.
And he very tactfully, in effect, said, "It's a difficult profession, and you're not good enough."
But you're still not doing it. I know you appeared publicly, certainly at the Friends School, quite frequently.
Oh, how fun.
Yes, I did have a set of drums, and Tim Hunter inherited them, and he played them for a while.
Oh, did he?
But I think now they've disappeared.
Uh-huh. So then if you were denied drumming, did you take up another instrument?
Well, I already had decided, after starting out in philosophy under Douglas Steer, that I was not a mystic.
Ah.
So I switched over to economics under Howard Keefe,
Ah.
but continued taking a couple of courses in philosophy.
And so your PhD work up at Harvard was
in
what kind of economics? What was the focus?
Well, my dissertation was about Soviet railroads.
Okay, so that's
For
interesting.
which you are a
Renowned expert.
Right.
Well, my other main interest was the so-called Third World and economic development. So I now think of myself as an economic historian.
In your work, I've often wondered, on the Soviet railroad, necessitated, first of all, learning Russian, which you did.
Not very well, but yes.
And you did that in graduate school at Harvard?
Yes. Fact is, I started on a Liberty ship going out to India. Went through, there was only one grammar in the olden days. But coming back to the issue of relations to the meeting and to the service committee, Haverford Meeting was somewhat staid in those days, and the service committee was heavily involved in European reconstruction.
Of course, yeah.
And you might want to write down the name Nora Booth. B-O-O-T-H. She was a central figure in Zurich Committee efforts to develop better relations with the Soviet Union at the height of the Cold War. And the fact is, she organized a series of exchanges, and I was heavily involved in that, chaired a couple of sessions that would go for, I think, 10 days or so, with a group of Soviet scholars, intellectuals, coming here, and then a couple of times a similar group from the United States and Canada would go to Soviet Union. So that was an effort to open a few minds and contacts, hoping that the participants in their professional lives afterward would think a little differently and perhaps establish more contact. And I think that worked pretty well.
In fact, I'm interested in hearing that because when we lived in Geneva, there was a very well thought through and successful program called the Conferences for Diplomats, and they brought every summer for 6 weeks middle-level diplomats into Geneva from all over the world, but particularly countries that were at odds with one another, and put them together. And the hope was that when these men, they were men, rose to a higher posting in their countries, they would have this legacy of experience. And so here's the prototype with what you were doing. And what were the years of the work with the Soviet scientists?
1969 was one of them. I think maybe that was by no means the first. But I really,
in the 60s.
When we moved here, I did not bring along a lot of old records. I did bring this, which has to do with membership, but it only goes back about 10 years. And
yes, you have been concerned about this. Even in my short 5 years here, I have...
well, why don't you take that with you?
All right, we will, Ho. But we're interrupting your flow here on your life. It sounds like a very focused life with your teaching and research at Haverford College, and then
reaching out
and using and being used by the service committee.
Yes.
What a wonderful blending.
Were there any other members of Haverford Meeting working with you on that sort of an enterprise?
Mather Lippincott was a CEO, and he drove an ambulance in Italy. And there were several other Haverford classmates similarly involved. And Ted Shakespeare, who he felt in the end he didn't want to be a conscientious objector, but he wanted to do something active. And it turned out that the Army Medical Corps had a niche for people who would go out on a very dangerous job to bring the wounded back to a first aid station and a hospital. And that's what Ted Shakespeare was doing when he got shot.
Were both Lippincott and Shakespeare in your class or in your generation?
Mather was.
Ted would be a little later.
Yeah, a year or two later.
Ted Shakespeare won the English prize too at Haverford College. So your children are at Haverford Friends School during that era.
They all went through from beginning to end at Friends School, and I enjoyed that greatly.
Can you tell me a little bit about it? I know you were on the school committee.
Got 30 years.
Oh, my!
Up here, you see there's a picture.
I do see.
Well, that's...
Yes. A lovely pewter picture. It looks like a silver, probably.
I'm a tell. I'm a tell, I think.
I don't think it's silver. In any case.
We love those pictures. You got one. I never got one, but they're beautiful. We get one like...
Yes.
Oh, I got a whole party and a few other things. Never mind.
Did you clerk the committee for some period, too? The school committee, I mean.
I guess I must have. I think I was a recording secretary.
Yes, you were.
More than clerk. Pat was the clerk. Pat has done a remarkable job leading the school committee, especially when we were very proud of having appointed the first black school head a few years ago. And she was a big success, and I think very effective with the children. But she was kind of stubborn, and she had no head for business at all.
Right.
And
administration was not her bag.
Right. So there were more and more difficulties between her and the school committee, and Pat was able to find a dignified way to move her out.
I don't know how dignified it was.
What a trying time.
It was not easy.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Betty Ann
Workman.
Workman. That's it.
So then you were on the committee through that tumultuous period that was very painful, I'm sure.
Yes.
And then...
And you stayed on, I believe, while Marlisa got started, or were you not?
Oh, Marlisa. You know, the thing that was the difficulty there is that the college got a president who was a British historian and a very nice fellow, and he stole away
I've heard this story.
the head of the school and took her back to England.
That is called Audacity Plus.
Yes.
Well, she came at a time when we needed somebody young and forward-looking, and she did a good job while she was there.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. And then Betty Ann came, and then after Betty Ann, Marlisa. But you were always pleased with the school for your children's sakes, and so many of the young people who've been there say that was the best educational experience they ever had. Would you agree?
Oh, yes, and what we remember is that our children would jump up in the morning and eagerly go off to school, looking forward to it.
Telling of a good experience.
It really was.
What kinds of things made the school so appealing to them, and I'd be interested too in how your concern as a Quaker in part in helping youngsters learn Quaker values in the school, how those two things fit.
Well, I'm trying to remember the name of the woman who was the dominant figure.
Miriam
Brown.
Jones Brown.
Miriam Jones Brown. She, by her gentle ways and her reaching out to children, found ways to help children who had problems and work with parents in cases like that. She was willing to take on children who had various kinds of problems, and sometimes there was some on the school committee who thought maybe she went too far in that direction.
Well, we got to be known as a school that took problem children, which we really weren't. But it happened that there were several standouts, physical problems, and that sort of thing. I feel that Miriam did the right thing myself.
So did I, and so did Helen. And I remember thinking that it did all the other students a lot of good to make friends with and appreciate the difficulties of some of these children who had problems. So I think that was worth it.
Well, now, getting back to Haverford College, where you were a professor for 35 years?
40 years.
40 years. Tell us a little bit about the ending of your career there, and then what did you do?
For 40 years.
Well, I was one of those who would apply almost every year for a grant of one kind or another, and about a third of the time I would get the grant.
Good enough.
So then I could take the semester or even a year and do research. And from my point of view, Haverford, the location is ideal because you could leap down to the Library of Congress very quickly, or up to New York Public very quickly. And I used to visit the bookstores down around Union Square. I accumulated an enormous collection of books on the Soviet Union, especially statistical abstracts, and eventually was able to unload this collection on various universities and get a tax credit for what the universities had accepted.
Very smart
And
Quaker move.
you wouldn't believe how much it came to $18,000.
Really?
Wowie.
Yeah, indeed. We are impressed.
But it was a collection like no other, I'm
No other,
sure.
right,
Particularly with your emphasis on the underground.
That's true, yes.
Now, what do you mean by that? The underground?
Well,
Which underground?
I guess what you mean is transportation.
Transportation in Russia, which is outstanding and beautiful. I thought of you when I went down into the railroad, actually, trolley
yes.
underground, and saw the magnificent stations underground.
You're right,
This is in Moscow?
yes.
And elsewhere.
And elsewhere, I've only been in the Soviet Union once, and I never got that far north. So the Moscow subway is famous for its beauty as well as its transportation uses.
Absolutely.
So all major cities did have this, and that's partly where the focus of your work was, though?
Not really.
Not really. Okay.
Was that more of an avocation or a vocation?
Well, it was the area in which I got started, but then I worked with a fellow at Bryn Mawr named Morton Barrett, and we published a book, a paperback, which went into 3 editions, and it was called Economies of the World Today. And that title was suggested by Claire Wilcox at Swarthmore, who was a very good economist. And Claire Wilcox objected to the fact that Paul Samuelson's textbook, which dominated the field, only thing it said about Soviet Union went back to Fabian socialism, which was really irrelevant. So Claire, who had a deep bass voice, said, "Oh, we should write a book called Economies of the World Today."
Today.
So we wrote Economies of the World Today, and it was a great book and widely used for quite a while.
Was it a textbook?
Yes.
A textbook.
It was a little paperback, it was accessible at the high school level. It never became a competitor of the big economic textbooks, That's a little specialized.
Mhm.
But,
Well, thinking about our relationships with the Soviet Union after World War II, that was the period that I had 3 friends who went to the Russian Research Institute at Harvard as graduate students. And in fact, that was your life too then.
Yes.
Had that institute been established when you were there, or were you a precursor?
The minute it started, a friend of mine and I rushed around and got a grant in the summer of '48 to go down to the Library of Congress. Yes. So I was there at the beginning of all that.
Very, very interesting to me. Since these people, excuse me, I just finished, did go on and do high-level consulting with the government, our government, on Soviet relations.
Right.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just wanting to get back to Haverford Meeting and talk a little bit about its influence on you and vice versa.
Well, at the beginning, my focus was more on PYM than on Haverford Monthly Meeting, partly because the people at the meeting I thought were rather staid. But one of the most wonderful people was, oh dear, now this is where names don't come back very readily. A couple, he was a physician and lived right near here.
Gertrude and...
That's it, Gertrude.
Marshall?
Yes, the Marshalls. Wayne and Gertrude Marshall. They were outstanding.
Definitely. And they kept things moving. They, I think, were basically responsible for getting a young people's group together. Do you and Helen remember that? We used to get together,
Well,
cover dish suppers, and
Helen never got involved because she goes to St. Mary's Episcopal Church.
but I think she came to these
Yeah, I did.
parties.
I did.
We
I was bi-denominational as far as eating was
Love it. Bi-denominational and eating.
I felt that those gatherings undergirded the middle-aged members who had small children, and it's something that I felt certainly got me back into an interest at the meeting because it gave a framework to my kids. And I know that you were part of it, that Whittlesey's were part of it. Maybe you don't remember it as vividly as I do, but it made a big impression on me.
Yeah, well, I remember bringing a casserole
Yeah.
and standing in line and all that.
Well, that wasn't just cover dish dinners at meeting. These were young people's group. And you were.
No, I don't think I ever went to a separate group.
And then we
You
did
guys
things,
have.
then we did things with the children too, and that's something I remember with great importance. I thought to my attending. Now about other things with the meeting. What did you bring to the meeting besides your interest in PYM? Seems to me that you were serving on all kinds of committees from one time to another.
Well, I did take turns at various things. I once was impressed by a reading friend in Cambridge, Massachusetts monthly meeting who published a monograph on orderly organization for Friends meetings, and meeting for business in particular. And I tried to get the rest of the Haverford meeting interested in that. And you will find on the bookshelf some copies of his monograph. And the fact is that it didn't catch on for some reason. People didn't feel moved to adopt this new approach. So it quickly sank out of sight.
Well, now, in my short life, 5 years in the meeting, I recall you being very interested in this. But what are you now referring to this more recent interest, or has that been a long time concern?
No, it's a more recent one.
So, all right. Yes, that was too bad that sank. That is a good word.
Then
Or was drowned.
there are files which I left with Dean Short, and I have some other files that I'd be glad to unload on you. But these were, you know how it is, you have to try to get people to serve on committees.
Yes.
So there's any number of lists like what I turned over.
All right.
With the membership of existing committees
Okay, members, yes.
and the annual struggle to update the lists.
Oh, it is an annual struggle. I've just been through it. And the figures still don't come out to balance.
No.
And part of it is what you have put your finger on, who's a member.
Yes.
And that seems to be a continual search within meetings for defining what membership is, and is there a child membership, is there an older one, etc. But well, these are very interesting, these lists, and in the early 90s of committee responsibilities in the meeting. Thank you.
In the olden days, women were willing to play an active role in the life of the meeting, but now when they have an outside job, it's very, very hard to do what women used to do.
And yet you have somebody who is a full-time doctor and is very, I can't think of her name.
Meg
Litton, very outstanding person
Yes.
in the meetings.
Right.
Took on that tremendous job of finding under the care of. Anyway, well,
now let me ask, your interest in membership and staffing constituting committees, does that say you worked on the nominating committee for a long time?
I think so, yes.
Okay. And other committees too? You must have been on care and council or and oversight or worship and ministry perhaps?
Worship and ministry, I certainly was, not care and counseling.
What were the concerns during the time you were on worship and ministry about the spiritual life of the meeting?
Well, I really don't remember any details.
how do you remember any details of the period where the meeting reached out to the Jewish refugees and brought them into the meeting? That was back in the 40s.
I do remember that, yes. It began when I was an undergraduate at Haverford. Haverford meeting arranged, I think Willis Edgerton was quite prominent in renting or buying the house just across from the meeting at Red Brick House. And people like Heretic Krause were brought there. I think there must have been at least a dozen, many of whom then became faculty members at Bryn Mawr College.
Well, so. Any at Haverford? Yes. You also brought.
Oh, yes, a wonderful German philosopher.
Oh.
Can't think of his name now.
He lived over.
I think Helen is out
Would you like me
gardening.
to see?
Let's just let it go.
Okay.
I'm trying so hard to think of him. He had a son who was a noted doctor. Well, I can't think of it. I will.
German philosopher.
Foss, Nelson Foss.
You're right.
But you just said
Martin Foss.
you said something that
That
sounded like
sounded, oh, for heaven's sake, well, let me just keep talking. So he was one who then stayed on, or was used then on, in teaching at Haverford. Were there others?
I don't think so.
He was a remarkable gentleman.
Was he? Well, somebody who was non-Jewish, I believe, but came in that same spirit of accepting refugees were the Asensios.
Oh, you're right. Yes.
And they live here, don't they? Or she?
They
does,
taught at Swarthmore. In fact,
Oh.
I think she at least had an appointment at Swarthmore.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I had thought they were Haverford
Well,
faculty people.
they had an apartment on the Haverford campus, but
Oh.
she taught at Swarthmore.
And she taught the R&R girls how. She taught Spanish to the R&R girls.
What does that mean?
R&R,
Relief and Reconstruction.
Ah.
who were here during the war to fill out the classrooms.
Yeah.
Nobody has talked about them. Do you want to
The
talk about them?
Dazenbrooks can tell you a great deal
All right,
about them.
so it is Mary Esther's
Yeah.
That was
program.
her.
That's right.
Now, Cole, were those women undergraduates? My understanding was that it was a master's degree program.
That's right. They had all graduated from college,
All right.
and then they went over to relief work. That's where Henry and Mary Esther met in Poland.
Yes.
He was repairing trucks.
And he'd be good at it.
Yes, oh, he's such a handy man, wonderful with
Right.
tools and all. How long did that program last? Do you recall?
Oh, certainly a couple of years,
Couple of
maybe
years.
a little longer than that. But those two, the Dazenbrooks, would probably have
All
a
right,
lot
yes.
more historical detail.
Yes. No, I.
It was a very good program, I think.
And we have another resident here, Bet Garrison, was a member of that group. Do you know Bet Garrison? She was married to a doctor. She used to come when she first moved here to Haverford Meeting. She is a Quaker, and it hasn't moved her membership from South Jersey where they live. Well, that must have been exciting to have those women on the campus then.
It certainly was for the students.
I can only imagine, right. Did you participate in teaching any of that? Did any of them take Russian, for instance?
By that time, I was in Washington.
Ah, all right. All right.
But you were married.
No,
No, you weren't. That
No.
was 1945.
see, I was in India from June 1944 through August or early September 1945,
Oh,
and then went right up to Cambridge.
then to Cambridge. Okay. Since we're back on this, what did you do in India? Was that an AFSC project?
No, it was I was the junior, lowest ranking employee in an office that worked on what was called Lend-Lease.
Oh, employee and then lease. All right.
Those agencies kept changing names.
Yes, they did. Right.
The,
But that was
Foreign Economic Administration
Mhm,
was
mhm.
the official name at the end. And
Oh, well, that was
our job was to try to expedite in Washington the shipments that were coming to India under Lend-Lease.
Okay. Well, shipments too. What a very good experience. Here you are, an undergraduate economics major, having this overseas experience practically articulating an economic program, and then to take all of that rich background with you to Harvard.
Well, I was helped greatly in a quiet way by a man named Frank Fetter. No relation of our Fetter here. But Frank Fetter's father taught economics at Princeton, and Frank Fetter II taught economics at Haverford, but then got called down to Washington during the war, and it was he who found this opening in New Delhi for a fellow Haverford class of 41, Bill Miller. And Bill Miller and I went out to India. Later, Bill Miller had a career as a Foreign Service officer in the Department of State.
Did you ever consider that?
Well, it didn't really come up.
It's also there.
Well, I'm glad to hear how you felt supported and did support Haverford Meeting, and I'm wondering if you were active in any other Quaker organizations at that time.
Only the service committee in town. I went to a yearly meeting a few times. I went to the first of the residential sessions up at that Catholic college not far from Allentown, but I haven't gone in recent years.
I don't know what college that would be, St. Mary or something like that.
Well, that residential meeting is a fairly recent experience, isn't it, in Philadelphia yearly meeting?
You're right.
And it's only every other year, as I understand it. And this year it's been canceled. It was to have been at some college this July, but because of monetary problems at PYM.
And travel. People aren't traveling.
But it's mostly financial.
Yes.
You mentioned now, Hol, that you really started an active role in the society with PYM rather than here at Haverford Meeting. But obviously, now in the time that we've been here, you've been very involved with Haverford Meeting.
Well, I've had to withdraw because I can't get around very much anymore.
Well, we're coming to the end of our interview, Hol, but I wonder if you'd like to tell us, in conclusion, how your life has been affected by Quakerism. What do you feel you have gotten out of it? Or given to it?
Well, I guess I should say it's been a spiritual home and a foundation for an ongoing search. There was a very nice senior member of Haverford Meeting who interviewed me when I applied for membership, and I said to him, I'm not sure that I believe in God, and he said, well, as long as you think conscientiously you can say you're searching, that's enough.
What a very fine answer. It drew you in and allowed you to continue searching.
Sounds like William Comfort.
Right.
Well, this has been extremely edifying to us. You can't imagine how privileged we feel to be part of this. Is there anything more you'd like to tell us that we haven't touched on or haven't asked about that you feel might be of interest?
Well, I don't think so. No.
Well, let me just then ask a couple of quick questions. Are any of your children friends?
No.
But they're very involved, perhaps, with church activities from Helen's?
Well, Tim and Ann they got married in the church in town that is
Non-sectarian?
sort of, yeah. Anyway, They're not very religious at the moment, but they might become so later.
I think I've asked an unfair question because I couldn't answer that for my middle-aged children.
But our daughter Barbie and her husband John Chafee are very active in the Episcopal Church in Binghamton, New York. Very active and also very musical. And they have 3 sons, and the 5 Chafees more or less dominate the choir.
That's a wonderful gift to
yes, they are very active. And even, well, that's enough. Chris and her husband do attend an Episcopal church in Queens, but I don't know if they're very active otherwise.
Well, it sounds as
Well, I
if
remember,
some seekers.
I remember those 3 little girls with such pleasure because each one was very different, and yet they all certainly were Hunter children,
Yes.
looks-wise. And, of course, then along came Tim, and he was a friend of my both sons, and they kept in touch for a while. I don't think they've seen each other recently, but I've seen Tim fairly recently at a Haverford Friends School gathering, and he is so attractive, and I don't remember meeting his wife, but you, I'm sure, are very proud of him.
Well, the school certainly has been a very positive influence in the life of my whole family.
One other question. I am recalling 2 other occasions being in your home when you have been fostering the work of George Lakey.
Yes.
Could you talk a little bit about that interest, what he's doing that is so attractive to you?
He was a graduate student at Penn and had a minor position in the faculty. And then he was deeply concerned about helping the nonviolent revolution in Southeast Asia, including, well, I'm not sure how this related to the war in Vietnam, but after that, I think maybe it was Laos that he went to. The CIA was funneling money against the communists.
That's right.
And he can tell you a lot more about that than I can. And then there's a young fellow who helped him, a man who has a small inheritance and is cheerfully spending it to help George Lakey's work. So, what is it called? Something for Change.
Yes, I should know.
I've got that
Policy for Change. Well, he's a tremendous person. I have appreciated.
Has an outgoing personality and very cheerful, and he has spoken here a couple of times.
Yes, you have done us all the pleasure of providing him as a speaker. He spoke to us at the Quadrangle. That you, must have arranged that.
I did.
And he was outstanding.
Yes.
And we got a videotape of him that night giving that lecture. And now you're reminding me, I talked to George Lakey. I ran into him on the streets in Philadelphia, about a block from Friends Center one morning, and asked him if we could have a copy of it for our Friends meeting here. It was such an outstanding witness. One is so cheered when one human life can have so much impact.
Right.
And I like, the word cheer comes to my mind because you used it. He's cheerful. He does follow George Fox's walk cheerfully over the world.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
What a nice sentiment to think about doing.
Well, this has been particularly of a pleasure to me because Ho was our son's major professor at Haverford College.
Yes, and he's now gone on to a very useful career.
Yes, he has. He is using his economics
Wonderful.
background all the time. He's working with developing health programs in African countries. And
Now, are you ready to take this back?
right? And it is now about 11:15 on this morning in March, and let me add that it is year 2003.
Well, I guess I didn't say that.
All right, thanks again, Hope, very, very much for having us.